Let's see if I am live or not. It does look like I'm live. Welcome everyone. So the idea behind today's stream is that I'm gonna be testing Agentforce and specifically Agentforce for developers. I already tested it once and I didn't really have. I don't know. It just was not doing much when it just came out, like the first version of Agentforce. But it's obviously a big thing for or yeah, it's a big thing for Salesforce ecosystem, and I wanna really to dig in and see how it works, what the hell is all of that, and I hope that you're also gonna be able to learn something new. And specifically, I wanna answer the question: is Agentforce worth Agentforce for developers? That's important because I have no idea about all the other Agentforce things. But Agentforce for developers, is it worth your time? Is it worth using it? Is it helpful for beginners? Is it helpful if you're trying to learn Salesforce development? And that's what I'm going to be trying to answer today. Why live stream? I haven't done live streams in like months, but the reason why I do it is because I have another big live stream on LinkedIn tomorrow, Monday, and I want to check out if everything works. And it took me actually like probably 15 minutes to set everything up, so I hope everything works. Let me shortly test it. Everything seems to be okay. Yeah, it all looks good. Let's see. Okay. So, I think we can get started. And I'm gonna change into this. Ta-da. So, let's start. As I said, I have not so much of idea what's going on with this Agentforce. So the only thing that I know that it gets updated and that it's using some AI stuff. So let's see, Agentforce for developers. Introducing Agentforce for developers, now generally available. All right, so it was September 16th, right? So it's a little bit over a month, and I think, yes, I think this is what I actually wanted to check out. So what it says is that it's, yeah, formerly it was Einstein for developers, now it's Agentforce for developers. I don't like the naming because Agentforce, like, it's kind of strange when you say, okay, it's Agentforce for, and then blah blah something. Why don't you just name it differently? But yeah, and Agentforce, by the way, it doesn't. I get the point where it's where we are moving, but come on, there are no agents in Agentforce, so that's kind of strange. But anyway, so this evolution of Agentforce reflects our vision for the product, initially enhancing developer productivity with assistive capabilities and integrating more advanced automation features in the future. With the generative AI capabilities, Agentforce reduces the time the developers need to spend on routine boilerplate tasks and allowing them concentrate on more complex tasks. Yeah, I agree. I agree with this. That's where it's heading. That's good. All right, so let's skip all this. So Agentforce for developers uses the power of Agentforce AI research proprietary large language models, including Cogen 2.5 and XGen. This is an interesting point because I don't think that Salesforce is capable, and I get it. It's a little bit. I don't want to. So here's one thing that I don't want to do. I love Salesforce. I absolutely love Salesforce and love people working there, and they are the smartest people. Uh, they Salesforce is good, right? But I I'm raising some concerns. I don't want to criticize them too much, right? But I don't think that Salesforce is capable of producing an actual state of the art LLM model. I know that you can say, okay, there are like they can produce different what are the name for those things? Um, like they can show you the tables basically, right? So they can show you the tables. Okay, our LLM is performing better than GPT-4 on certain tasks or something like this. But eventually, I don't think that Salesforce will ever be leading in this field. So I don't feel that producing own LLMs for Salesforce is the good way, because they're always gonna be behind the companies that focused only on doing the best LLMs, right? So I guess Salesforce can do just a good LLM, right? Salesforce has a lot of resources, they have very smart people, but I don't think they will ever be able to do as good of LLM as OpenAI or Anthropic. And that's why when I see that they're using for Agentforce own LLMs, I'm a little bit concerned about this, because hey, I like that's the problem. Like they're not gonna be able to compete with the biggest LLMs, right? But we're gonna test it out. Like we're gonna see if they hold, if they like how good they are actually. Okay. So it is designed primarily for programmer-specific features such as code completion. And this is, I understand that they basically, the idea is that they train an LLM to do specifically the coding stuff. Now what I understand from LLMs, and I am total noob in LLMs, I don't know. But what I understand about LLMs is that um, they it's hard to make a really good LLM that's gonna be designed specifically for one task. Like for example, if you want to do something that is really good at coding, you're gonna have to train it on also a lot of data, not necessarily only on the coding data, right? And by training it on large amount of data, also that is unrelated data, it picks up certain things that are actually helpful for coding, right? So, if you, yeah, so basically this LLM that is specifically designed for code completion, I don't think that this is a great thing. And on top of that, the code completion thing, LLM, it should understand also your plain English, and it should understand how you speak in English, right? So it should understand. It should be general purpose. So it's kind of my thought about it, but that's fine. Whatever. We're gonna test it and see if that works or not. Xgen code, a robust model tailored for Salesforce developer use cases. This is interesting because the last time I tested Agentforce for developers, Einstein for developers back then, um, it was failing at exactly Salesforce related things. So as much as you think of Salesforce as this like Salesforce um, huge dataset database or something, they don't have as much data as um, as you would think. I remember I was on one of the talks here in Munich on how much access to the code Salesforce actually has, and they don't have necessary access to all your code, right? I don't think, at least that's how I see it. Like when you have an org and you develop some code for this, I don't think that Salesforce has access to it. Um, my understanding of that. If they do, if they can like actually go and read your code, that would be a little bit security concern, right? So I don't think they can just do that, because whatever, can they read the code of Google, for example? Well, it's kind of a competition problem, right? So I think they don't really have the access there. So they definitely do have access to certain code things. But here's the thing: when you look at the documentation of Salesforce, they the code examples that they give, sometimes they are very bad. they're really bad sometimes. So you wonder what kind of code access do they have, what kind of the code quality that they have there, and if they train their LLM specifically on like this type of things, well, what what's gonna be the result of it, right? Like, yeah, that's what's strange for me. And the last time I was testing this Einstein for developers, it was actually failing at exactly the Salesforce development cases. So it was not understanding, for example, that relationships are done with a underscore underscore R, not with underscore underscore C, something like this. Here, this is what I was speaking about. These trusted models ensure that no customer code or content is ever used for model training. Okay. So they mean basically what they mean is that if you are using, let's say, GitHub Copilot or whatever other assistant, then it means that they might send your code into their servers, and this way, their LM, let's say OpenAI LM, going to be trained based on the code that you're writing for your customers, and that might result in some kind of leaks and that security problem. Valid concern. I agree. You can opt out, actually, by the way, in the GitHub Copilot. You can opt out for this, and I think there's another one, Taboon, something like this. You can opt out for those things as well. But now the question is, when you opt out, do you trust them enough to actually opt out your code from the whole database? Nah, I don't know. Okay, so what can we do with Agentforce for developers? Engage in multi-turn chat with Dev Assistant. Okay, Dev Assistant. Let's have a look. Chat with a Dev Assistant. Oh wow. They have nice examples here. Okay. This is actually, that looks really nice. So you can type here different commands, and that's gonna do the commands. Okay, nice. So far only 3 commands. Still good. Still good though. Like something that. So what's that? Let me turn off my phone. So something that I really look forward to is documentation. Like writing a documentation, I remember when I was working as a developer and we had a huge project, like 15 people have been working, or even maybe more, on this project, and we had to write a goddamn documentation to everything we've done. It was so annoying, and it actually took a lot of resources. So yeah. Some users who have been picked at random are getting an additional benefit of having retrieval augmented to generate a RAG turned on for their workspace. Interesting. Okay. RAG generates context-aware responses to your prompts. This means that with RAG activated, Agentforce considers information about S objects in your DX project. The question is, why doesn't it do it by default? I mean, I understand it's hard to develop those things. Like, I don't want to undermine the huge, how to say it, the huge effort they Salesforce is doing, and especially the people who are working that. That's good. Like, this is actually key. This part where Agentforce would be able to differentiate between, understand the data model in your object, in your project. That's the key, because that's what would differentiate the Agentforce for developers from the other copilots. Okay. The current actively file and previous messages in chat when generating response. Refresh object definitions to bring the metadata. Okay. All right, known issues. This is actually interesting. So this is the stuff that they know that is not working as they would like to see it. All right. We know that there can be incorrect spacing between words in generated output. Well, interesting. Explains everything in your active editor, regardless of your current selection. Well, that's not too bad. Even if you have multiple tabs open, the idea that Agentforce consider the context of the active, that's fine. Agentforce occasionally generates code or metadata that you don't have locally. Sometimes the system makes grammatical errors. Oh well. To help us improve the model, report any issues. Okay. The model that powers Dev Assistant has been specifically trained to iteratively generate Apex code. This means it can generate more accurate and higher quality Apex code compared to its responses. With the continued fine-tuning efforts, we expect the model to iteratively save better responses for the. Yeah, but this is not an issue. Come on, this is not an issue. This is you're like saying, oh, like we actually did a great thing here. It's not an issue. All right, but that's fine. It's not a problem. Marketing, as if you can read a documentation in Salesforce without having any marketing put into your head. No, you can't. It's always gonna be. Okay, so now they say basically what we've seen, and then generate, explain code, generate tests. Actually, generating tests kind of sucked the last time I did it. Writing docs also sucked, and inline code autocomplete, they didn't even have it back then. So let's see if that's gonna work now. All right, important considerations, resources, and about the authors. Ah, nice. I know you. Okay. Are we connected here? Oh, we are. Nice. Ah, I know you too. I've seen you posting. Now, this is awesome. I've seen you posting. Nice, nice. All right. I hope they're listening to the feedback of us, users. So let's actually open the VS Code. And let's just actually open some real project. Yeah, let's take Dan, for example. This is one of my students. So it's not an actual project in terms of I'm not writing this project for a client, but this is a student of mine, and we are developing a project based on one of the projects that I had as a freelancer, right? So we can do that here and see and test the Agentforce for developers. But before we do that, I'm gonna disable my disable completion. I'm gonna disable my whole. Darshan, hey. So enable completion. Yeah, I hope that my copilot is disabled. All right. So let's see. So I have this thing, and let me put it here in the stage. And I'm gonna say before we even write any code, so that I don't mess up anything, I'm gonna say Dan's feedback. All right. So this is the Agentforce, yeah, and it is enabled, right? Disable. So it's all enabled. Okay, so let's say I want to write here system.debug. Ah, it understands. Nice, nice. So the autocompletion, they fixed it. So now it actually works as a just normal autocomplete thing. Okay, what about this? Does it understand what I want to do? Not really. Okay, so I would say before we actually do that, let's do one thing. Let's actually agree on how we're gonna rank this thing, right? Because if I'm just gonna be typing random stuff and then say, oh, it works well or not, it's not gonna be good. We need to agree how we're gonna say what parts we're gonna evaluate, basically. And what could be those parts, by the way? Okay, so Agentforce. So I would say one of the parts is how accurate. How accurate. So how accurate is the code that they do? Yeah, basically how many errors it has, right? Yeah, let's say from 1 to 10. So how accurate, that's going to be one field. How accurate. Okay, so another field will be how much Salesforce related. Yeah, because if you ask to it, hey, can you create for me this method, and it goes and does completely Apex unrelated stuff, that's not good. I can way better use something else for this, right? I don't have to use Agentforce for developers, except that it's free, of course. That's the kind of the benefit of it. So how much Salesforce related, and how good it follows instructions. It's another thing that we need to do. And what else? How good it follows instruction. Does anyone else has any ideas? What would be another evaluating criteria for that? How accurate, how much Salesforce related, how good it follows instructions. Uh, and let's say like this. How useful? How useful? It's a little bit vague, but basically what I mean is that with AI, we have such a thing that there is a lot of cool demos, a lot of cool stuff that you could potentially do, but it's just useless. And that's my experience so far with AI is that, yeah, you can do cool things, like you can generate whole songs, but what do I do with this? How can I use it to either make more money or be more productive as a developer, right? So how useful? That's another criterion. Let's see. Let's see. So I want to refactor this code to make it a little bit more production ready. Yeah. So right now it's a little bit not that great. So we're gonna refactor it a little bit. Let's see. Use entire file. I don't know. Is it? Can I just do this and then it's gonna explain to me? Let's see. Explain. That's thinking. You've made a great choice by using Agentforce for developers to generate code. To make sure your code is even more accurate, refresh as objects. Let's do that. Okay. All as objects. Is it gonna pull all as objects in locally? $1,000 standard as objects. I didn't even know that there's so many as objects. Wait, is it gonna pull all of them? No. Whew, that's good. I thought it's just gonna pull the whole metadata. Okay. So we refreshed it. So now it should know about the metadata. This is actually awesome because that okay, this is good. If it understands the metadata, this is actually awesome. Let's see. So it says explain. The code is in Salesforce Apex class named, let me make it a little bit bigger, named student, this class designed to, okay, get participants. Okay, pretty obvious. But now I want to say, how could I improve this class to make my methods smaller and increase readability? Let's see. To improve the class, make the method smaller and more readable, you can do the following. Use method chaining. Instead of creating a new list to store participants, you can use method chaining to directly create instances and add them to the list. What? What's method chaining? Is it method chaining? Is it just a fancy word for calling another method? Use a separate method to wrap participants. You can create a separate method to wrap participant to convert participant. Okay, but don't I already have this method? Like this one? Like as a constructor? Okay, so here are the improvements. Okay, this is interesting. Let's see about the improvements. Okay. Ooh, this is nice. This is actually good. This is nice. I love it. I love it. Okay. This is great. I was not thinking that it's gonna do this. And it even does it private and static. So it's right. Query participants. Yeah, it doesn't fully follow the best practice here with the query participants, because usually when you do like this, you also want to say query participants and then by what are you querying, by training ID, for example. That's usually how That's usually the best practice behind it. But it's not bad. It's great, actually. It's great. Yeah. This is not great. This is useless. This is pretty much useless. Okay. So let's try to do that. So let's say I usually don't like just copying stuff. I like to actually type this thing out. So usually what I would do is that I would first go for the query. And I would write it usually here beneath all the methods. So it's going to be public. Right? So let's see if that's, if Copilot is smart enough. Oh no, this is, you don't, no, this is not as good as I thought. Name is equal to this one. No, that's quite useless. All right, so let's see. So query participants, and I'm gonna give a little bit more hints. So I'm gonna say that the return is gonna be a list. Why are you not kicking in? Come on, do something. Say that those are participants. Participant. Okay. Query participant. I'm gonna say query participants by training ID. By training ID. And then I'm gonna take all this whole thing, and I'm gonna move it here into the return. Yeah, and then obviously we need to have here the record ID. ID, training ID, training ID. And it should be private, actually, private, and I guess static, since we are in the hour enabled, so we have to use static. Query participants by ID, training ID. Okay, and then it says to do the wrapper. I'm not so sure how I feel about it. To move this wrapper thing into separate method, is it worth it? I don't think so. I think it creates more lines than, yeah, I think it creates more lines, and we're not reusing it anyway. So I'm just gonna leave it for now. Maybe I could even separate it a little bit to make it a little bit more beautiful. I like when everything is separated. Oops, participant wrapper. Why is this is the biggest thing? Why is this not kicking in? Like if I disable it now, like auto completions, and then I disable here this, and then I enable what the hell is it? Why is it disabled? I enable completions. Here we go. It's going to kick in. It's going to recognize those type things. So first of all, this go away, and also this go away. Okay. So here. No, it doesn't. Why? Is there something wrong with my? Usually it does though. Wrapper. All right, maybe something is not working. Huh. Okay, I'm gonna disable, and I'm gonna enable here, enable auto completions, and enable this. All right, then, whatever. Then probably it's on me. Okay, so what have we got here? We have wrapped participants and query participants. Yeah, that's already better. Now, this is also not good because we don't want to mix two different types of notations, right? So we don't want to do this great and then like some of stuff we don't want to pass it in the constructor here. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna move it. Okay, nice suggestion, Einstein. The Agentforce for developers. Nice suggestion. Okay. And then it has a suggestion to move this whole thing. I would agree. I wouldn't probably do it on the loop level, but I would do it on the individual participant level. So I'd create here a new method, and I would call it private static um, wrap participant. Come on, Copilot. Oh, this is bad. Oh, this is strange. This is strange. This is better. This is better. Now it understands way better. Okay, what's the next? Okay, what's next? Alright, let's see the suggestions of this thing. Grade status, it takes it from above, right? So grade passed. Yeah, nice. Nice. Status, yeah, I also have status on the participant. Yep, works. And then training name. It goes from the training underscore R. Yeah, actually, training R name and the contact R name. Yeah, look, it gets the relationships right. This is super good. Like it wasn't like this before. It's very good. Like previously when I was testing it for the first time, I was like, yeah, it was not getting those type of things. And now it understands them. So this is very well. ERP ID, and the ERP ID. Yeah, and look, it understands that this should be here in exactly the same case. This is nice. This is really great. I love it. Okay, and this is the here's the thing. This is the own LLM from Salesforce. It's actually super impressive. Like it is impressive. It's really good. You probably know me that I like to criticize Salesforce sometimes, but this is good. This is good. Is my I even have to check if my Copilot is actually disabled because it's on the level, if not above, of the Copilot. It's really good. It's still not on the level of, for example, the cursor IDEA, right? It's not that immersive, right? The cursor IDEA, it just like spits out for you everything everywhere. It does it proactively, so you don't have to like prompt it. So now we still have the thing that you need to kind of like kick it all the time. Like do this, do that. So you are kind of taking the lead in front of this LLM. But with the cursor, what they did is that actually they take a lead and you kind of follow the lead. It's very good for people who have never coded, for example, but it's not necessarily that great for experienced developers. So I like it so far. It's really great. Nice. And obviously what we are doing here is a very simple it's a very simple use case, right? So it's nothing too crazy. Even a junior developer would be able to do this thing. But because I know how it was before, and before it couldn't do even those things, now it can actually do this. Real nice. Right, so what else should we improve? This thing. Let's see if that's gonna recognize that. Wait, so did we do actually this one? Static. No, we don't have the wrapper. The wrapper is the return. And wait a second. No, this we already have it with this one. Oh, come on. So we need to wrap participant. It's not wrap participant. It's unwrap participant. It's unwrap participant. Oh my god. It's unwrap participant. So basically, it's other way around. We're getting the wrapper here, wrapper, and then we're returning an actual participant. That's how it's supposed to be. Let's see if it can recognize this thing. Yeah. I love it. It's great. It understands it. The most, you know what I was looking for? The most important thing that the error that it could have made. Let's see if that gonna. It adds debug statements. No, this is really nice because what like the error here or the mistake would be something like this: participant dot name equal to um, wrapper dot training name. That would be a mistake because you can't do this. You cannot, right? And and it understands that you cannot do this. So it's very tricky. It's nice. It's really nice. I love it. Okay. So we have this, and now we gonna. I'm not really sure if unwrap is the best wording for this though. Unwrap participant. And then wrapper and participant. Yes, nice. It understands that you need to add it there. This is awesome. This is awesome. And if I make here, okay, if I say S, nah, if I say system, do you understand that I want a system debug wrapper? Nice, nice, smart Agentforce. I love it. I love it. Why is it so good? I was honestly, I was not expecting it to be that great. I was expecting it to be way worse. That's why I made a disclaimer that I don't wanna shit too much on it. It's great. It's nice. Okay, so we had this part. Now we can also do, I guess, we can also do one thing that is missing actually is the ERP ID here. It did not see that you can also do the ERP ID. So it saw it from one method, but it didn't see from this method. Yeah, because I want to reuse this method here. Okay, let me delete this thing. And participant. Yes. ERP ID and status. Yes, because we want to have all of them, right? ERP. Contact name. Is contact name there? No, it's not there. Wait. Yeah, it's not there. Oh. Okay, so it did miss a couple of things, but it still did really, really well. Participant dot contact name. Yeah, I guess so. From doing this, I would say that one of the biggest improvements so far that I've seen is that it actually recognizes the metadata. And one of the shortcomings of this, something that we still don't have it, is that it is not as it's not proactive enough. What I mean by this is maybe I can show you the cursor thing. I don't know if I still have the license for that, but let's see. Open recent. Should be Dan. Where's the Dan? Come on. Do you want me to search for this whole thing? That's stupid. Projects and yeah, open this one. I don't know if I still have the license though. Student grading table. No, it's fine. Let them leave the process. Okay. Yeah, let's see. I mean, they changed a little bit the license. But let's say we want to refactor this thing, right? Wait, it's still using the Agentforce. No, I don't think that I can actually show you. Okay, my cursor is I canceled the license. I realized it's not really needed for me, the license. Now let them leave. Come on, it's fine. I don't want to install anything. And here unwrap participant. Yeah, it's still Einstein in play. Okay, so I don't know. It doesn't really kick in the cursor. Whatever. Forget about the cursor. But the point is, you can find demos somewhere on YouTube. But the point is that it's not proactive enough. it doesn't push you in certain directions, and you can think about it as a nice feature. But I guess this is where it's all going in this AI EDS stuff, is that basically instead of us pushing these AI systems, or as it was before, us pushing um, this whole project even on our own, it's gonna be a little bit other way around. The AI is gonna be going, and we're gonna be like modifying and steering AI in the right direction. That's kind of how I see it, and this is why I think it's important for Agentforce also to go in this direction and be proactive in analyzing the whole file system, and trying to actively understand and actively guess what what is the end goal of the person who is writing it, right? Because when you write the code, you have one goal in mind, and then you're going to this goal by writing different things here. And the task of AI is basically to guess what is this goal, and if it can guess this goal right, it can basically bring you all the way to this goal without without much of your effort. And you just say, yeah, that's what I want to do, yeah, and then bam, done. So what it's gonna allow us is, as developers, is to focus mostly on the actual planning. Okay, what is my goal and what is the path there that I want to take, right? So like, what is the code design? What are the patterns that they want to use? What is the architecture of all of this? And then once we know the architecture of the code, we can just basically go in with AI like relatively quick. So this is why I think it's super important for Agentforce to be more proactive in this case. Yeah. But what I see right now is good. It's like state of the art AI EDA here. So it's really great. It's really great. It is on par with GitHub Copilot. It is. It is. Which is crazy. And it's really good. I love it. Well, maybe I'm gonna find a little bit more shortcomings though. But for now, you can basically take this Agentforce and you can use it. You can use it to actually help you with coding a little bit. It's more like smart auto-completion, right? And you can chat with this. And the best thing about this is that it's free. So it allows everyone who is working with the Salesforce to do those type of things. Yeah, we're gonna speak about later what I think about it. Is it good or is it not, and how good is it for beginners? Let's add here another criteria. Should you use it as a beginner? Should you use it as a beginner? Not would, should. Should you use it as a beginner? Yeah. Okay. And another thing that I'm gonna add is how proactive it is. Yeah. Okay, so let's finish actually this refactoring. So this is unwrap. We unwrap the participant, and now I want to move this whole thing into, and usually when I do this, so I do here Command X, so I basically erase it from here, and then I go and create here a new method. And usually Copilot is smart enough to recognize what I've done, and it's not smart enough here. Okay, so let's help it a little bit. So private, usually do it like this. Yep. Return. Is it smart enough now? Come on, kick in. Query. No. Nope. Participant. Query participant by ID. And it's gonna return a list of participants, private, and it's gonna be static as well. I don't want to care right now about making anything not static and all this. We don't care. Okay, so what do you do here? Can I say ID and then you autocomplete this? No? Oh, come on. Participant ID. I'm doing a lot of typing. Agentforce. That's not supposed to be like this. I'm not supposed to type. Do I need to use my own hands to type? Come on. Crazy. Right? So we have this, and then I'm gonna be querying participants. Let's see. Are you smart enough to do now something? No, come on. Query participants by ID. This is more like this. Okay. This method, when I look at this, it looks actually strange. Why am I requerying participant again? So I'm first unwrapping it and then I'm querying it. It's strange. It's strange. It's a strange method. I think we can do more to make it better. But I don't want to think about this too much because it's not the point. We are testing the Agentforce. Okay, so here's the thing. So I want to include the entire file and can actually make a new chat, and I want to say what could be improved. What could be improved in my Apex? Doesn't it see the whole file? What can I improve in this file? Okay, so it's using some reference. Yeah, okay, now it's using the reference, but before it did not understand that I mean by this, what can be improved in my Apex. Obviously, I mean this file, but it did not understand this thing. All right, some suggestion. Use consistent naming convention. Ensure that the variable method class name follow. Come on, this improves. Okay, so remove unnecessary code. There is a participant wrapper class defined in the code, but it is not being used anywhere. Are you sure, Agentforce, it's not being used anywhere? Look, if I search for it, I find 14 times where it is used. Agentforce. No. Use proper data types. In the method get participants. What kind of method is this? Okay. The training ID variable is declared as ID, but it is used as if it were a string. No. This is wrong. You should either change the variable type to string or update the method call to use the correct type. Isn't it the same thing? You should either change the variable type to string or update the method call to use the... Okay. Check for null values in the participant wrapper construct. Wait. So here you say as a beginner who is learning Apex, should we use Agentforce? This is a great question. Tasha. So, should you use it as a beginner? Well, what I think is that the answer is no. And I didn't change my mind for any Copilot things. You should not use Agentforce for developers, and the reason is quite simple. Because that is similar to using, let's say you're stepping in. So when you start your Apex journey, right? It's similar to when you step in for the first time in the gym. And when you step in the gym, you don't want to go hard. You don't want to use any cheating stuff. You don't want to go like put steroids into your biceps, whatever, to make it pump, right? And the same with Apex. When you start as a beginner, you need to focus on actually building the actual skills of coding, not use like aided stuff. Because will you be able to code something using Agentforce? Absolutely. But can you then debug it? Can you make sense of what you've done? What happens when it breaks? Right? So all of these things you won't be able to do unless you actually have the coding skills. So as a beginner, you need to focus on getting the coding skills, and this thing it's only gonna confuse you more. It's you need to type a lot of things. The best thing as a beginner, what you can do is that you can just go find the examples on the internet, and you can literally retype it. So you want to do the opposite from Agentforce. You wanna be focusing on building the skills. So as a beginner, no, don't use it. Disable it. disable it. As a beginner, you can even go as crazy thing and just code in the developer console. It's fine. It doesn't matter. As long as you're building the coding skills, it's gonna be all right. But don't use the Agentforce if you are a beginner. Mm, and this is actually that leads me to another problem. If you're a beginner and your goal is to learn how to code, right? Then you shouldn't be using it. But if you're a beginner and let's say you're an admin who knows a little bit how to code, and your goal is to actually go and solve something, like just deliver some kind of code that solves specific problem for the client that you're working for, then go use it. Like absolutely, this is the valid use case. Even so, if your goal is not at this moment or like at this day, let's say, not to learn how to code, but to get the stuff done, then go use it. It's really good for this, and it's free, and it's Salesforce related. It actually understands the relationships, so it's great for this. But if you want to learn how to code, you need to focus on learning how to code and not skipping, not trying to do this aided stuff. Don't do that. Okay, so what's nothing? Use constants for hard-coded values. Some hard-coded values such as ERP callout endpoint and meta types. I am using literally what you're saying. This is a valid point, Agentforce, right? But it would be it would be a valid point if I didn't already use it there. Okay. Consider creating constant for these values. Yes, this is, but it's good that it recognizes. So it knows the best practice, right? It knows the best practice that you're supposed to create constants for the stuff that you're hard coding here in Apex. But it does not see that I actually already did it, and that's interesting. I don't know why, what the hell, but that's quite interesting. Okay, optimize SOQL queries. In the query participant by training method, you are using SOQL query to retrieve the participant. You can optimize this query by selecting only the required fields instead of selecting all fields. Well, but but that's what I do. That's what I do. I'm not selecting all fields. Okay. Consider bulk processing in the update participant method. You are updating participants one by one. Uh, do I? Do I? So this is strange. Like it showed me stuff that is valid. Like the recommendations here are right. This is what you're supposed to do if you have an optimized code, right? So you're not supposed to update one by one. But I think as it didn't really see that that's what's happening. That I already have those best practices implemented, and those best practices are pretty basic. Like everyone knows that you shouldn't update it in the loop. Um, can you check one more time and say what I should improve? Here's my code. Hey, I cannot make two lines here, or I'm just gonna paste everything there because I have a suspicion that it didn't really get the it didn't really read, or it didn't really pay attention to the Apex class that I've sent. Okay, so incorrect variable name. In the method get participants, there is a variable name training ID which should be training ID. Oh, this is actually nice. Wait, so there's a typo? This is nice. Thank you. Bonus points. Agentforce, bonus points you for this. Nice, awesome. It's defined, but it is not used in the get participants method. You can replace the hard-coded training ID with the training ID to fix it. But is not used in the get participants method. But it is used. It is used. It's defined, but it is not used. The so it says so. Okay. For some reason, Agentforce for developers doesn't see that stuff that I'm actually using. I do use this stuff. Interesting. I have no idea how why. Because when I use other LMs, they do understand this type of things. So let's actually, you know what we can do? We can as a comparison we can just go to Claude. In my opinion, the best LM right now on the market, and we can say, hey, can you check, say what can be improved, and see what's gonna come up with. No, I. Oh my god, it's very bad. It's very bad. Come on, Claude, don't do this. You're online on the stream, Claude. Don't do this. Oh my god. How? What the hell? It's Apex. It's Apex. No lambdas. No lambdas are possible. I wish we could have something like this, map and collect, but unfortunately we don't have it in Apex. So no lambdas are possible. Don't write a lot of code. Just say what to improve. So you see, even the leading LLMs, they they're not really that good, right? Because they don't understand Apex and they don't have the full context of what's going on. With the right prompting, though, you can make it work. But yeah, but I expect from the Agentforce, I expect it to understand. This is what would be for me the biggest differentiator, is that Agentforce for developers should be able to understand Salesforce org and Salesforce related stuff, because I need to spend ages to explain it to Claude, for example. All right, so fixed typo, nice suggestion. Class naming, consider naming with the uppercase. Yes, exactly. This is something that I think that Agentforce didn't really get. Yeah. Use camel case. Did I unwrap? Oh, I thought actually that unwrap. This is a good point. I thought unwrap is actually two different words. Oh my god, my English. Uh, unwrap. It's fair. Fair. It's really good suggestion. Return a single participant instead of a list and add limit one. Yeah, this is also a good point. See, this is also a good point. Like this, yeah, like limit one. Limit one. It's not okay. It's not really best practice to return necessarily one participant, but in this case, when we are querying by ID, well, we know that it's going to be only one participant, right? And those type of things that doesn't really get. At try catch, we don't care about this. At missing contact ID. Aha, see, it's so see, this is what I mean by this, that Claude gives me a way better result than Einstein. Einstein, oh my god, that the Agentforce for developers gives me, which is not, it's not insane, right? If you have to compare those two LLMs, the difference is not huge, but the suggestions that I have here, if I was not a developer, I wouldn't be able to recognize that they are actually, like a lot of them, are actually not nothing. They are not great. They're not useful. They're not actual suggestions that you can execute on or should execute on, right? So that's kind of the problem. That's kind of the problem with the Agentforce. So I think I am ready to give it a rating. How much Salesforce related is the first thing. How much Salesforce related? I would give it I would give it let's say 7 out of 10. Yeah. It is, well, let's do 8 out of 10. So what I really liked about how it is Salesforce related is that it it actually does understand their relationships and how they work. And it does understand, so So yeah, it understands them, and you can put there the update the S object, so it understands. I love it. I love these things. How proactive? Now this is going to be 1 out of 10. Yeah. So it's not really that proactive. Now, should it be proactive? This is kind of a question. Should it even be proactive? I don't know. That's up to Salesforce to decide if they wanna how agentic they wanna make it. But since they're calling it Agentforce for developers, well then it should be hell of agentic. 1 second. Yep. Right. So yeah. Now the most important thing is how useful is this thing? And the previous Einstein for developers, from the use how useful it is, I would put it on 2 out of 10. The previous one, not this one. Now with this Agentforce for developers, I would put it to a solid 7.5 out of 10. It is really useful though. It is like it helps you with the completions. It helps you with the typing. It doesn't necessarily help you if you're not a developer. It doesn't really help you that much. It is also not on the level of the best LLMs, obviously, which that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So in overall, I would say it's great. It's good. It's fine. It's not the best. It's not the worst. It has improved a lot. Yeah, a lot. How good it follows instructions? 9 out of 10. It follows instructions very well in comparison to what we had when it just came out. I would ask it one thing and it would do completely different thing. I would ask it to write me a trigger and it would do completely another thing. How accurate? 7 out of 10. It's pretty accurate. It's not perfect, but it's pretty accurate, I would say. So those are my ranking. So let's ask Agentforce. I have following rankings. What do you think about it? And I cannot paste their multiple lines. Why is it so strange? Can I do a screenshot there actually? Can I put a screenshot? Oh, I cannot put a screenshot. I see. And that's fine. That's not a big deal. But what we're gonna have to do is that we're gonna have to just copy paste it. What do you think about my ranking for you? Let's see. What does it think? The AI more Salesforce related and accurate. Well, so overall, the AI is performing well in terms of Salesforce related knowledge and following instructions. However, there's room for improvement in terms of proactivity and accuracy. By providing more specific instructions, asking follow-up questions, and providing feedback, you can help the AI become even more accurate and helpful. So what's the score? What's the overall score of this? I'm too lazy to count myself. That's why we have AI, right? I would probably quicker if I just count myself. What is the average score? But that would need for me to use my brain, and I don't wanna do that. So the average score is 6.5 out of 10. I don't think it's fair. Wait, proactive. We can take out the proactive. We don't need it. Wait. This. Without proactive. without proactive. $7.8. I would agree. I would say it's going in the direction of being like 8 out of 10. I think that 7.8 out of 10, I think it's a really fair score for the Agentforce for developers. In comparison to what it used to be, in my opinion, it used to be a 1 out of 10 when it just came out. So I think it's a great improvement, and I really love how much it improved. And to be honest, I was not expecting it to be that good. It is a really good thing. Now, do I recommend it to use for you? Absolutely. This is usable thing. Like, you can actually use it as a developer and improve a little bit of your productivity with typing, for example. Now, should you use it? Should not? If you like it, use it. If you don't know, but the best thing, it's free right now. It's good. It's on the level of most copilots, and it understands well what you're trying to do and helps you with coding. It's awesome. I love it. I love it. And that's gonna be it. Thank you everyone who have been watching, and go check out Agentforce for developers. It's actually a way